Hello, my delicious co-creators. Lilou here. I'm today in beautiful, delicious Hawaii, not far from Paia, a charming little town here north of Maui that I absolutely love. You live in paradise, Ev. Oh my God.
I love it here. I moved here about 2 years ago, and it's certainly opened up to be one of the most spiritual, incredibly supportive environments that I've ever lived in.
Yeah, and this conversation about spirits, I would love to know more on how you commune with spirit. What are your recommendations? And I want also to hear about your story, of course, on how you got to this place. Where were you living before?
Boulder, Colorado.
Yoo-hoo!
Yeah, I call the Rocky Mountains flight school for me. Definitely learned to release all the things that I was using in my life, whether they be substances or processes, to separate me from standing in the full communion with the Spirit and the power of connecting with the all and helping others and being receptive to that and connecting that with others.
Yeah, let's speak for a second about the shadow aspect of our lives. Like, what did you had to remove, or what did you had to let go of to be fully in the light as much as you can right now in this present moment?
What didn't I have to let go of? What wasn't I using is a better question. All the typical ways that people use to smooth out the edges of social interaction: alcohol, marijuana, any drugs, food. And then there's the process addictions of people-pleasing, codependency, overworking, underworking, exercise. You pretty much name it. Shopping, a lot of the things that are fun, but when done in excess. And even the things that are good for us, like meditation and some of the practices of spirit, can be taken to an edge that is fulfilling an egotistical desire.
When did you realize this was too much then? When did you realize the balance wasn't there anymore and something had to be let go of? Or
usually it was because I was in pain in some kind of way, usually emotionally, which are the red flags that Spirit gives us, the dis-ease, the disease, and if it's taken to the nth degree, it starts showing up in physical ways, and people get sick and they have accidents, and the universe does the big kibosh to change the path in a certain way. But usually, if we listen to the little voice and we ask, what is the purpose, the lesson, and the meaning of, my lower back, or even, a bike crash or a fall in some kind of way, every little thing, you can ask, why did I just spill hot tea down the front of my white dress? There is a way of connecting with your subconscious to be able to understand, I'm being redirected. And so it's really about asking and surrendering your will for a place higher than you, a soul, an aspect of your soul higher than you, connected to the Creator, to receive. And being receptive is very vulnerable.
Yeah, especially with the kind of degree you had. I mean, you came out of great, amazing universities, and I know that when we have this kind of facility to think well and smart, then there's a deeper challenge to just be there in the present moment and trust a higher force, or can we say a universal force, rather than our own brain intelligence, huh?
Right. Yeah. Well, actually, making the mind as clear as possible without thinking. I actually don't have to think. It's incredibly relaxing when I don't try to figure it all out. I ask for help from Source, and then I stay clear to receive the information. I never have to spin. It's like a dog chewing on a bone, constantly gnawing on it with the mind. That's a mind out of control. The mind is a tool. It takes direction from the heart and from the source that feeds the heart. So, Yeah.
And even more so to channel, because from my understanding, like you really commune with spirit, and you teach even others, or you facilitate this communion. I know your love for crystals and golden onyx, I read, and other stones. So what is the path? Through which path did you open up more and more to spirit?
Oh, I had a really hard time being on Earth for a long time, and I carved stone. The sculptures that you see in my home, I carved out of stone, and they helped me to anchor myself and they put me in a meditative state. And art or song, and art comes in every form. So anything that will put you in that meditative state, and many people do it through exercise or athletic pursuit as well, to be in the state of no mind. And what led me to channel? The channeling.
So it started with sculpting, and then were you having conversation with crystals, for example, or start?
Series of spiritual awakenings. And then, yes, I began to be able to communicate with the trees and the animals and all life forms, including the crystals, which most people would consider inanimate objects, but those that connect in a state of oneness can receive information from the entities from the crystal realms, as well as incarnate and disincarnate humans and higher dimensional beings. They're all accessible. The planets, you can call to the planet Uranus or Venus and the essential soul of the planet and have a conversation with the planet. And every human is born with the equipment to be able to do that. There are some souls that choose to have experiences where they're not developed in their psychic abilities. That is purely a soul choice to investigate a different way of being. But for those of us that have most of our development in our brain realized all the psychic abilities, clairsentience, clairseverance, clairgustus, clairempathy, clairgnosticism, clairvoyance, clairaudience, they're all available to most humans. It's really about your intention and practice. This is your instrument. This is your tool. It's not the director. And to be able to train the mind through meditation, mantra and mudra, generally speaking, you can do the moving meditations through all the art and exercise, but it's not a substitute for a sitting practice, because the sitting practice helps you to, as T.S. Eliot said, see the dancing in the stillness. So all of that is to train the mind to emptiness and ultimately receptivity, where your engagement in co-creating the reality is a multidimensional experience. And humanity as a whole is on the verge of stepping into that. Everybody's psychic abilities are increasing. I see it everywhere in all different walks of life. And I'm here to empower people to know that they don't have to seek from an agent of spirit the information. They can go directly to source to receive it for themselves.
Here we're way beyond the law of attraction, the documentary The Secret. We're beyond the ego's desires. We're really talking about heart desires. Is it even of cosmic orders, or what's already written there? Or how do you see this whole co-creation with the universe?
Well, I think one of the big things that's going to be happening for humanity is that they're going to open up. There's been a lot of dogma through the religions to create control over a paradigm of thought control, of keeping humans at a certain state of evolution. And that I think one of the biggest shifts that's happening is that people are realizing that we're not alone in the universe, and that we came from the stars. and that there are so many star beings on Earth right now, and the entire universe is connected to us, and telepathically, it doesn't matter how far away they are or what dimension they are in, the mind can travel faster than the speed of light and much faster than the speed of sound, and that we can instantly call to the Vega star or the Arcturus star or the Sirius star system and communicate with entities there. And everyone can do this. Most people can do this that are of a certain mental soundness. Let's just say that, because I have no judgment. There are just some souls that don't come in with a fully developed mind, but it's all built within the human template.
It's a personal choice.
Yes, at a soul level. So I won't say that everybody's born with the equipment, because there are some souls that choose a different path, but most people are capable of it. It's really about what interests you, what inspires you. And then you learn to play the instrument really well by practicing. It's just like the piano.
Bit of discipline, huh?
Yes, it does take discipline. And there are ways to clarify the channel and to make yourself more sensitive to the subtle energies. And the clearer your channel, the more receptive you are to the highest frequencies, and the more you can hear them in the field and feel them in the field. It does make it a bit of a labyrinth in the third dimension, though, I have to say. It doesn't mean that a lot of the very dense things of wah, wah, wah that a lot of people, they really like to go on the Ferris wheel and do all the really dramatic things to entertain themselves on Earth. And once you keep getting more and more sensitive, you're a little less attracted to those, because it feels like, you're like really being shaken hard.
It feels like when we're little, as growing up, we are very sensitive beings, and then we learn to shut that down because otherwise it hurts too much.
Yes, and a lot of people do that. And a lot of people come, and then it becomes a process of peeling away the layers of protection and peeling away the layers of other people's energies and entity attachments. I mean, I'd say at least 50% or more of the people that come to me have entity attachments. Just they're writhing with them, and they really detract from the energies. Mostly that happens when they have compromised their auric field in some way with drug and alcohol use, or
ayahuasca, I heard, or spending time in hospital.
Yes. There are, it's once again, I'm not going to judge anyone for, drinking or using medicinal substances to engage and to open their spiritual reality, but there is a point where they are limiting themselves. What I found was that I couldn't get past the fourth dimension when using any substances. And that was a deal breaker for me, because once I realized that I couldn't have the incredible connections with the fifth, sixth, and beyond dimensions and the entities there, why would I ever use a substance that was putting the cap on the earth reality, which includes the fourth dimension, which is really fun and really wide and very vibrant. And so, but
very vibrant.
As far as ayahuasca or any other earth drug is going to get you.
I have a feeling that we sense even when somebody else is under the influence of another entity, or there is those. Could you describe a little bit how it looks like, or how we can detect that even within a person? I think in a relationship we can clearly see that, like friendship or loving relationship. All of a sudden, the other person is a different person. It's like, what's going on here?
Right. Well, you can definitely see. It's different for everybody, because everybody usually has the clairs, as they're so called, the clairvoyance, clairaudience, etc. Some people can see them with their eyes opened or closed. They may see a shadow. They may see a movement out of the corner of their eye or in front of them. And some people see it really in technicolor. It really depends on the person.
Even in the eyes.
Yes. You can see from the eyes as well. Yes. And I actually... usually I feel it, I hear it, and I see it as well. But oftentimes if I'm in a session, they go right for the jugular. It's like my throat will cut off. I clairsentiently feel something, and it can be pressing on your skin. It can. There's so many different ways of perceiving it, but and a lot of people do know, but they don't know what they're feeling. Many people have all of their clairs operating, but they don't really know what the signs are and what they mean, what this little message is trying to tell them.
And what to do with it.
And what to do with it. And I'll tell you what I do with it. There is no judgment of any undeveloped beings or any astral entities at all, because they're all part of creation. Mm-hmm. And generally, if they're making themselves known, they want to go home. Mm-hmm. And
they're like stuck?
Yeah, some of them are stuck, and some of them are having a really good time doing what they're doing. It's true.
A little bit cheeky there.
Yeah. And what I know to do and what works instantly is to call for help from spirit. Any of the archangels, it really depends on your background, what your orientation is, your guardian angels, your soulmates, your twin flame, your archangels, the Elohim, Hindi deities. You can call on any deity or anything of love and light that you feel connected to and you trust. Always call for the highest and best and ask, please clear the field. Please escort this soul. Please clear the field of any entity attachments and return them to their source of creation.
Can we do that just for a second? Could you call that on camera for people watching?
Absolutely.
So that we clear that for anybody watching right now?
Yeah, I absolutely can.
Look into the camera or close your eyes, but this would be great time.
Okay, great. So I usually close my eyes when I do it because it helps me to center myself, and it helps me to get outside of myself as well, so that any egoic part of myself comes to rest. And I usually put my hands in prayer because that seals my energy field within myself. And I call to the Creator of one and all, my enlightened essential soul self, a call to the enlightened essential soul self of my guardian angel, my twin flame, and my soulmates, a call to the enlightened essential soul self of the archangels, Azrael, Michael, and Sonophan. Please help to clear, cleanse, attune, atone, and harmonize this field with the highest, holiest, best, and brightest energies, vibrations, and frequencies. Please return all entity attachments that are anything other than what is in our highest and best interest of all those sitting in this room back to their source of creation, please, sending them with love and gratitude for any lessons that may have been learned. And they're all clearing now. There's quite a few of them, actually. And please help us to know when the field has been cleared. Okay, and I got a clairaudient, all clear. So that's an example of just asking for help. It's important to know that we live on a free will planet, and the universe takes that tenet very seriously. And that in order for spirit to help us, we have to ask. It's called the art of evocation or oracular divination. And when you ask, you will be served. And it's important to open to receive what you've asked for. A lot of people ask and ask and ask and ask and ask and ask and keep asking, and they're clenched. And they actually, there's like no way for spirit, in some ways, to get their attention because they're spinning so fast, and they keep asking, and they haven't even actually registered that they're being served or that they have been served. So that there's a rhythm that helps to set you in a mode of taking that next right step and listening to that little voice that comes through a clear mind to direct you.
Hence you being here in the beautiful nature and taking the time to meditate and being in gratitude, I guess, for already what's there, every day.
Yeah, that all of those things really help to stay connected to the truth.
So what's your connection with Lumeria Maui and just Lumeria in general? Because we speak a lot about this around all the Hawaiian Islands. So what does that represent to you? Beyond the structure, beyond Lumeria Maui, what is that? What is that for you? Are you part of it? Were you there back then?
Lemuria is an ancient world, and it was one of the worlds many, many thousands of years ago in which humanity was evolved to a point of oneness. The general public, most of humans were in a state of oneness where they could commune and speak with the trees and other humans telepathically, the animals. And so it was a utopian, in many ways, reality. And Hawaii, the islands here, are supposed to, the legend says that these are some of the last physical land masses that were part of the original big Lemurian land, and that the rest are underneath the ocean. So that there is still an essence, a resonance here. The energy of that land still lives within this land. And that's part of why there is such a potent spirit Dreamtime here. The song lines are very profound here and very deep. The deep earth connection is very strong, as well as the Dreamtime.
And Lumeria related to that, this is where you actually, you do some...
was a spin off of Lemuria. The vision of the original founder was to create a beacon of light for remembering Lemuria in this new golden age that we are just beginning to enter after leaving the Kali Yuga, as it is said in the Indian time, mystic time evolution. We are entering the new golden age, opening to the galactic center, where there is a flood of energies speeding up the evolution of humanity, raising the energies and frequencies of all the inhabitants of Earth to once again realize that state of oneness. Mm-hmm. So Lumeria comes in as really my dream job of working in a community of spiritual healers and people dedicated to the path, whether they are serving food or maintaining the gardens or teaching others in one way or another about nutrition or health or body or mind or spirit, to be a place where people could come to have a transformational experience.
How would you describe the one-on-one that you have with people? What does it look like?
It's different. It's different for everybody. It really depends on what the soul is looking for. I mean, I have had some incredible visionary experiences with in the treatment rooms up at Lumeria. I've seen I've had a pregnant woman on my table and watched the soul of her baby drop into her body, and I had to put a very special crystal grid around because the frequency of the baby was so high that the mother had to be brought into a certain state of relaxation so that the baby could, and she had to release some things in order for the baby to come in, and then I got to see the baby come in. So that was like one of my landmark, wonderful moments. But then there's other times when someone...
Clearing entities, I guess, too.
And there's the clearing of the entities that sometimes are so big, and, I channel from source, opening, helping people to open their channels, and sometimes they've brought entities with them from other realms, from other lives, and some of these beings are pretty big. And
Scary at times. Ooh.
I went through the scary stage. I've had moments where I was frightened, but it was part of my lesson to learn. You don't get to cop an attitude with any of these beings. They are all part of creation, and it's your job description to help them to cross over, to go home. So don't be pulling any of this attitude with them like, get out of here, beat it. Or even your fear of them is disrespecting them because somewhere they have a home where they are sovereign, just as we all are. And so I learned...
Raising our frequency? Is it more about raising our own frequency in those moments, or for you when you do that, or just letting it be?
It is about raising frequency, because if fear is a dampener for all frequency, anger is a dampener as well. So when they all come from a place of judging something outside of yourself as being different, and the unknown can sometimes be scary, but the bottom line is I'm just a vessel for spirit, and when my ego is involved, it turns in, I don't have any power at all. Basically, my power is completely extinguished. When I empty myself of all ego and surrender and call for help, then the power that moves through me to assist others in whatever way is impressive. Yeah.
Through all my travels, I see healers that get caught with their ego, and then the thing shifts around. Like, how do you keep that in check in your own life as somebody that facilitates these kind of type of healings, and you could see even miracles, witness miracles, and not identify with them? How do you go through that on humble journey?
I notice how I react to all the mirrors in my environment, and if I feel any emotion come up, or any pain, shame, fear, anger, resentment, jealousy, any of these things, if they come up, okay, I'm being informed that there's something within me, there's some shadow aspect that wishes to be released, and this beautiful person, whoever they are helping me to see the shadow. I then go into a quiet space and I call to spirit, and I ask them to please help me to release this aspect from within me. And sometimes the releases can be so dramatic that my body is shaking or whatever, or I can feel it somewhere in my body, and I just focus on releasing it into the earth and ethers for transmutation. But I ask for a lot of help, and then I pause to receive it. And humility is one of those virtues that, we think of humiliation as like, oh, this place that we never want to go to. But humiliation is the process to become connected to the virtue of humility. And humility is the muscle man of the incredibly powerful virtue of humility. They're all standalone. love and hope and faith and grace, mercy and charity. They're all exquisite, and there are angels associated with each one of those virtues. And I call on the angel of patience all the time. And that angel, I can tell you, is absolutely precious. And
Who's that angel? We could use some of that.
yes, exactly. And in that moment that you have the willingness to ask for help and to even to call to the angel of humility or grace or patience, and forgiveness is a really big one too, I'll tell you, of self and other, for all the experiences and all the lessons that you've ever had in every lifetime.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for this delicious interview. It was very, very special.
Welcome. So honored to be able to connect with you, Lilou.
Thank you. Oh, and to all you delicious co-creators out there, oh my God, we send you, what can we send from here? What kind of energy?
The deepest breath of aloha that you can possibly imagine to the core of your being, releasing you into freedom and the bliss of all that is. One love.
One love. Aloha. Big, big kisses to all of you juicy co-creators. Please like this video, share it wildly on social networks. We love you so much and send you big, big kisses from beautiful Hawaii. Bye.